morning, everybody. This is Turav, and welcome to the fifth session of Open Minds. We have a very interesting topic today in front of us, and we will be having Professor Pravin Mishra. Professor Pravin Mishra is a very learned person, and possibly in case of Open Minds, today we are having the most learned person amongst us. Let me give you a brief write-up about Professor Mishra. Professor Mishra is an alumnus of the National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, and has been a weekly columnist for the Times of India Mirror for the past 5 years. He has also been a regular contributor to the Quint and the Print, and he has conducted lectures, workshops, talks, screenings at various educational institutions in India, including IIM Ahmedabad, National Institute of Design, MICA, and CEPT. In 2017, Professor Mishra delivered lectures on storytelling and visual communication at University of Southern California and Michigan State University in United States. So without further ado, I present to you Professor Mishra. And before he starts, I would also like to welcome all our guests, all our clients, and also all our colleagues. Many of them are our ex-colleagues, and I wish to welcome them and hope to see a lot of them in the future also. So here's Professor Mishra. Professor Mishra, you can start. Yes.
Hi, Turav. Good morning to all of you.
Very good morning.
Okay. So great to have you all. There are some issues here. We don't have power for last 3 days because some thunderstorm had happened. And if I go off, there are some internet. If I go off, I'll try to log in as soon as possible. Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's always nice to talk about new things. So today I'm going to talk about advertising 4.0. Now, to talk about advertising 4.0, I actually have to go a little in the past to understand what is advertising 1.0, 2.0, and then 3.0. Yeah. So I have some notes that I have. So basically, the 1.0 is the pre-modern advertising. That's the first part of it. So that's when the Egyptians used papyrus to make sales messages and wall posters. Commercial messages and political campaign displays have been found in the ruins of Pompeii and Arabia. Okay, so now that was the first part. It was also in ancient Greece and Rome that we found such advertisements that dates back to about 4000 BC. Yeah? And in ancient China, the earliest advertising known was oral, as recorded in the classic poetry. Bamboo flutes were played to sell candy, and that's very interesting because the way advertising has taken shape, and we're talking about 11th to 7th century BC. So that's really long ago that the preliminary advertising had taken shape. Now, what happened is there's three major forms of advertising existed during the pre-printing period. Printing happened around 15th century, right? So those were trademarks, like you had moon and stars, everything, and then there are town criers, yeah, for any announcement like from the king or the rural or even tax collection. All those things used to be by the town criers, yeah. And then the signboards also emerged at that moment. Yeah, so now that's interesting. Now the 2.0 is basically that advertisement actually happened. That's between 16th century to 20th century when the actual advertising agencies also came in. So its first agency that dates back to about 1786. Right, that was William Taylor opened his office in London. Yeah, that's the first agency that happened. Now the whole industry got formalized. Then the industrial revolution happened. The products were being made. Products were made to be object of desire, and that's how the whole advertisement started happening. The printing played a very important role. The newspapers played a very important role during all those time, right? And towards the beginning of 20th century, you had the telegrams came in, telephones came in, the radio came in. Cinema was already, like, towards the end of 19th century, cinema was born, and that also became a very important format of advertising. But still, like, there's no kind of qualitative change after that. That continued to get more and more interesting and more. But this is the time of broadcasting. Now, let me kind of emphasize on this word broadcasting, because we'll come to 4.0, and that's where I'm going to use a new terminology there, right? So the age of broadcasting continued. Then what happened is you have the advertising 3.0. That's when the television was born. Yeah, home computers came in, internet was born. So that was, the advertising became slightly interactive, but still continued as broadcasting. Now that is where, and we are actually right now in advertising 3.0, but now the world is under lockdown. What is going to happen post-COVID is going to be very, very different. We have not seen a disruption like this. We have seen world wars, 2 world wars, the civilization has survived. But this is, nobody has thought the world will completely shut down. World war also used to happen in certain parts of the world, right? But this is a global shutdown happening right now. Advertising will be very, very different. Now, what happened to out-of-home advertisements? Like, nobody's outside. So what happens to those billboards? What happens to advertising in train or buses or railway stations or airports? Yeah? Nobody is visiting that. So therefore, all the advertising on those platforms has been pulled back. Now, yes, most people are at home. So more people are watching TV. So now there is a kind of focus where some advertisers are spending more amount there on TV right now. But that also is like, we do not have actual feedback happening. It's very difficult to get how many people are watching, which age group is watching what. But it's a general assumption that people are watching more TV nowadays. That's one way. And also they're at home. So the digital advertising has also gone up quite a bit. Yeah. Now, this is all is happening. In the post-COVID world, there's something very interesting going to happen. Now, so far, what we have seen, especially advertising 2.0 and 3.0, it used to be primarily broadcasting, right? I used to figure out a target group, and the advertising was the creatives, and the strategy, the media planning used to be focusing on that particular group and trying to make difference there. Now what is going to happen is going to be very, very different. From broadcasting, I think the future is about narrowcasting, and that's where the difference comes in, right? Today, if you browse a particular website, you go to Amazon, you buy a kind of product, you get a follow-up advertisement. Now, these are not as intelligent yet, but there is no choice now. I think post-COVID, it has to be very, very intelligent. Supposing you go to a particular shop, right? Suppose go to a Nike shop and you bought a shoe. Now, there has to be some follow-up. How long would that shoe last? Probably in a year or 2 years, you'll need a new shoe, or probably a Nike one. So Nike should know that, okay, you have already been with that particular shoe for this long, and therefore there's probably time for you to buy the next one. Yeah. If you go to a store, physical store or a virtual store, the products, the brands, they should know whether you have done shopping or not. If you have done the shopping, supposing you bought a microwave, right? You not need a microwave now for a long time, right? So the next follow-up advertisement, in terms of the Google banners, AdWords, they should not actually the sister companies. There should be some information amongst them, right? Narrowcasting is basically to know your behavior, know your user patterns. For example, there's a mall that you are passing by, and then they realize your location, that you're passing by that mall, and you're probably 10 minutes away. So a brand like Marks and Spencer suddenly gives you an offer saying that, come, and there's 25% discount going on or a 40% discount going on. Why don't you buy something? So that's narrowcasting, right? Being so obviously, like there are issues about privacy and all, but nowadays, like we know that's least concerns most of the people, because then advertisers are going to basically figure out not just your behavior at that particular time of the day, your location, your needs, your wants, everything would be in terms of big data and artificial intelligence right in front of them. Right now, it will be super personalized to an extent that in the morning, if you have a particular habit of drinking a coffee, right? So the certain kind of advertisement is going to reach. In the evening, your behavior could be something different. Probably you want a glass of beer, right? Now that's something, the advertisers would know in what mood you are in, right? In the office, what time, what mood you are in. If you are at home, what mood you probably are in, right? Now, see, initially, if you see, this is not absolutely new. There was attempt of personalized advertisements in the past also. For example, the direct mail, like Dear XYZ, yeah. So that was like, suppose the Reader's Digest, when they used to have all these renewal notices and the direct mail from them, they used to do it very nicely, right? But that is basically assuming that all the readers are a particular segment and there is no personalized. Now, this is going to be very different. The 4.0 is going to be very, very different, right? Now, now they know, the brands must know everything about everybody, like every potential consumer. So that's going to be very important, right? Now, needs are changing. Now, needs are changing very, very fast. Now, brands are going to be short-lived. Now, today, earlier there used to be one big idea. People used to talk about what is the big idea that but I think the days of big ideas gone. So, big idea was something that would last with a brand for about 5 years or 10 years, right? Now we need interesting idea. Now, interesting idea is what is something that would probably change twice in 2 minutes, right? This is how, because our thoughts are changing very fast. Now it has to be real time. Things like sports marketing has gone for a six completely, because this sports marketing, the whole sports channels that they thrived on live matches. Now they have to figure it out. They made live so interesting that nobody would watch recordings, right? And now live, there are no games, no sports being played anywhere, right? What would people watch? So nobody is watching sports channels. Now sports marketing is going to go for hits. Therefore, many other things, because of social distancing, which itself is a wrong word, wrong phrase. It has to be physical distancing. We're now socializing, right? We are on social media. So there's no social distancing happening. Physical distancing, yes. And these are the terminologies that is going to happen. Now, supposing you click on, there's a Google ad that has come, and then suddenly you don't want that ad to be there. And then you click to make it disappear. It actually asks you, right? It actually asks you why you do it. The ad is not interesting enough. You have why you don't want to see this. So now the computer is constantly learning from you, right? What you are, what are your needs, what would probably be your next need, right? So those things are going to be very, very important. Now, this is all what I wanted to say. I think that's good enough to begin a conversation. Now, if you have any thoughts to add on to this, if something that I have missed, please go ahead. And we can.
I have unmuted everybody, but what I suggest. Okay, I'm going to not unmute everybody. What I would suggest is people who would like to ask a question, they can unmute it themselves and ask a question. And in case somebody is speaking, please wait for a minute, so that there's clarity of discussion. Okay, so everybody please go ahead and let's have a discussion, because this is, I think Professor is used to a case study type of a discussion in his classroom. So he doesn't want to give a lecture, but would like to solicit more questions than just answers. So anybody who wants to ask, please go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Yeah. Sir said, are you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
So sir said ki, the market are changing and 3.4 and all that. The post COVID-19 after that, the main thing is my thought. Main thing is your idea. Simple. Everything is based on idea and then technology. Simple. Nowadays, if you are saying the last 2 years in advertising is very personalized and personalized language, mostly communication. If you see in the personalized language in local language, especially not English and other language. If
True.
you advertise particular area or any particular zone, so they prefer their language, local language, and that is very effective. If you see the brand like Parle-G or Bisleri, they are always communicate in last 2 years. They are only in their local language and colloquial language. Simple. That is very effective for the consumer.
You're right.
Is my thinking.
You're absolutely right. I think.
And in the film also, if you see the film in last 2 years, the 2-tier films are hit, means low budget, because the people are connected to the story and the character. Simple. If you see, if you do the advertising for the real estate or the agriculture, for example, in agriculture, our buyer is farmer simply.
True.
But some brands are till that they are doing in the English. I don't know why, because I am the farmer background and I know the farmer what want, and farmer is influenced from the especially the distributor or shopkeeper. So their language, my thinking is language is most important nowadays. And mainly the idea, execution and creative execution part is your end part, simply. And mostly the research. Mostly I saw the advertising agency or any particular thing that they are not doing the proper research in the particular area. We are doing I am the creative person, so I am not doing directly the creative and present to the client. But because without the research and what is the demand of the buyer, I can't do the design or communication particular positioning simply. Yesterday I had one ad, the Parle-G. Parle-G is 3 crore biscuit free sharing the India, and they just a simple ad. The positioning is the some apna ghar ka biscuit or something like that. So they claim that line because India and every home from the poor to rich, everybody used to that biscuit. So they claim. Nobody other brand claim, or other brand, especially in Britannia or any other brand, can't claim this is ghar ka biscuit or apna biscuit. Simple. Like the namak, the Tata namak desh ka namak, simple line. And we are purchase that line क्योंकि हर घर में वो ये है टाटा ब्रांड लाइक वैल्यू सिंपल. सो मुझे वही लग रहा है कि एडवर्टाइजिंग में जब तक हम लोगों के मन में क्या है, उनकी डिमांड क्या है, जब तक पता नहीं चलेंगी, और उसके लिए चाहिए रिसर्च. सिंपल.
I think can I yeah. So I believe ये सब बदलने वाला नहीं है, in the sense कि the research is primarily going to be intelligence driven, artificial intelligence, big data, all those things. That's what I'm saying. Like, they'll be so personalized. It won't be what you're talking about is a big idea and big brands reaching out to everybody. Now the post-COVID world is going to be changing. Even Parle-G, probably one brand, they probably have to diverse, they have to rename themselves, or probably have 5-6 new. The brands are going to be it's not going to be long-lasting brands anymore. Very few brands are going to be long-lasting. There will be new names, new packaging, and that is going to change every few years now. There are brands who are thinking of changing. Freshness has to happen so frequent that even
Right.
like for within weeks things has to change, sometimes within days, sometimes within minutes. So that's how it's going to change. Artificial intelligence is going to play not going to play, it's already playing, but as I mentioned, it's not intelligent enough yet. Now, there are lots of data analysts, they're sitting there, lots of advertising agencies, they're trying to figure out ways. Now it is going to be so intelligent, it's going to be
Right.
so intelligent that they would exactly know that if you have suppose you brought a microwave, probably your next would be you want to buy a fridge, probably you are looking for shifted to a new house or setting up your house. So that kind of a thing, and all those advertisers are going to basically focus on people, their behavior, their personalities, yeah, their family members, their location, all those things are going to play very important.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for kind of giving insights. Thank you, Abhijit.
Professor
Sir, I have a... Okay. Manu, go.
Yeah, thanks. So, Professor Pravin, I have a question taking the cue from what you've just said. You said that today is the time when we talk about hyper-personalization and the brands need to innovate and come up periodically with newer brands, newer products. Then how do you think and what would happen to this brand recall? With newer products coming in every now and then, what happens to the entire theory of that brand recall over and over, seeing the same product, same thing?
See, one thing is, I think in terms of in terms of lifestyle, our attention span is reducing drastically. Every passing day, it is reducing, right? In classrooms, what we see today, like even 10 years ago, then people used to kind of sit for 60 minutes session. Today, if you are not able to connect in the first 2 minutes, people would immediately get their phone on, their laptops on, look here, there. The thing is, distraction is so fast. Now, what is going to happen is you're targeting this generation, and that generation is constantly, every year, all of them are growing by 1 year, right? So they're getting into positions where they're making more sales, more buying. Now, what is going to happen is, yes, there are going to be brand recalls. Nobody is going to replace that. But diversification, supposing Nike is a big brand, that's going to stay. But the Nike models are Nike Sport, Nike Air, Nike. So those, that suffix is going to keep changing very, very fast. I believe that's going to be very, very important in the future. Things are going to be not that long lasting. Okay, some brands are going to be the same, but their campaign would change very, very fast. That's what I believe things are going to go in the next. Also, for example, in terms of recall, yeah, so I think I've answered that. The larger mother brand, they're going to invest on branding in terms of, so that recall is there, but then sub brands, and within that, they're going to try out new things. Huh?
So, sir, one question. You had mentioned, thank you for the insights. And you had mentioned in advertising 4.0, as you rightly pointed out, AI and IoT is soon going to be a very integral part of our life. You have LG already has talking fridges and whatnot. So whereas this new breed of millennials are all very equipped with that, there are also people who have been in advertising for decades, okay? And upskilling is a very important part of it. So how do you think agencies can equip their existing people to, to actually embrace this change, not just the change, but also, leverage it to the fullest? Because it's not really easy for most people to understand technology and then, apply it to their core skills. So there's always this chance of, the millennials taking over and then the old school saying, no, this is not the way. So how can we achieve a, very happy kind of a combination?
Yeah, many of us who actually thought ourselves as the next generation, we had fight with our generation. Yeah, now we actually having fight with the next one.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's a constant process. I think it's a challenge for designers at large, both product designers, industrial designers, who are basically using technology to make their products more and more interesting. That's going to be one part. And even the communication designers, like the creative industry, So that is also, they're also going to use a lot of technology. The first thing is like, as I said, from broadcasting, it will be exactly in the opposite direction. It's going to be narrowcasting. They're not going to advertise in mass media much. That is going to reduce. They're going to personalized advertisement. If that person is passing by, suppose in the even the billboards, they could be so interactive that it depends on who is passing by.
Right.
If somebody is driving past a particular billboard and that profile is already, that person's profile is there with the advertiser, would advertise a thing and then immediately changes to the next who is driving past, right? That kind of personalization is going to happen. That kind of narrowcasting is going to happen. Yeah, technology is going to allow. In fact, artificial intelligence and data analysts, I think, are going to play massive role in advertising in coming times. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
I hope that answered.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Most welcome.
Professor Mishra, can I ask a question? I'm Julian here.
Please, sir.
Just want to check with you, how would this affect the B2B segment as well as technology products? The transition into 4.0.
B2B, I think what is happening already today, I think most of the transaction is going to happen through web. That's how it is. I don't think B2B happens from mass medias, right? Yeah. So what basically
the lead times are compared to, let's say, a consumer product much larger, the closing of deals and all that. So how would that get affected in, let's say, a post-COVID situation?
I'm sorry, just missed out. Can you just come again?
In B2B, normally the transaction closing curve is much larger than, let's say, a B2C kind of a scenario.
Correct.
So
Correct.
In a post-COVID situation, how would that get affected?
See, I think that in a very similar way, in the sense that things are going to be kind of faster because of, I think, world coming closer. As we say, things are going to be more real. Transaction curve probably would reduce. That's not my specialized area. I can only talk about B2C kind of advertising more. But my assumption is I'm not based, my answer is not based on any information that I have or much of a thought, but I just assume that things are going to be more, intelligence driven and more personalized. If you have any insights into this, you can please share for everybody's benefit.
Professor Pravin, I have a opinion on what the question is.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at B2B communication and transactions that are taking place, it is actually what is going to happen in the consumer space that is happening in B2B already. Because B2B is not mass casting. It is you are not going to advertise to everybody, and even if you are doing advertising to create awareness, once your customer has come into your funnel, then you are actually doing a lot of narrow casting. You are communicating to the person one-to-one and communicating as per the buyer's need. For example, if like what example that you gave about microwave, take a case of a lathe machine. If somebody has bought a lathe machine, obviously he is not going to be requiring a lathe machine for some time, but may require spare parts. So the producer knows exactly what is the spare part requirement, what is the maintenance requirement. So this type of understanding that the B2B seller has to be learned by the consumer products companies. And actually, I personally feel that there will be possibly a demand for people who are expert in B2B marketing in consumer product marketing. So B2B has already reached 4.40 or possibly 4.1, and we are now graduating to 4.0.
Thank you, Tura, for this. We have a common friend, Rajan Nair, who I would request him also to throw some light on this. I think you can invite him. He's there online right now.
Okay.
I think he's saying it's not related to advertising, it's distribution and purchase decision. So let Rajan Nair, who is also an advertising veteran.
Yeah, I recognize some of the people on the group here. from, I think a few days ago, we were all together on another webinar. But you know what Turab has pointed out is actually quite correct. But the previous question to which he was answering seemed more related to distribution, purchase decisions, etc. But the fact is, and I've done a lot of B2B advertising, even in the old mainstream days, as in industrial advertising, etc. Where one of the most important things we as creative people in an agency should remember is that whether you're talking to a purchase manager or to the managing director or to the finance head of a company for your product, to whether he's buying it a few pieces or whether he's buying it in wholesale, the fact is he is a human being. He behaves exactly like your wife does at home, or she, you know, in terms of human psychology. That doesn't change. Just because he's in the office, he does not put on a different hat and say, I leave aside all emotions and I'm going to be, you know, purely an accounts guy, you know, finance guy at this stage when I'm purchasing. At the end of the day, brands and the values that you attach to brands are very, very important in your final decision. A purchase decision, it's always an emotional decision. You know, you will justify it and rationalize it by quoting a lot of scientific, logical, and financial and, you know, features related points. But at the end of the day, it is a brand decision, a decision made on the brand name and the values that you attach to it. So that doesn't change. So whether you're talking to a head of a large company for a major purchase decision.
Sir, can you keep your mic closer, sir?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Better? No problem. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah. So whether you're talking to somebody, let's say, who's head of the Sheraton chain and asking him to buy shampoos from you for keeping in every room, his decision is still based on who you are and, you know, how you're going to be able to cater to his image, his as in not in personal image, but to the Sheraton's image on what product you're placing inside the bathroom of every room. At the same time, it is important for him to be able to see and to show that, you know, the choice that I have made in this brand is not bringing me as a person down. You see, those human factors, those human emotions are very crucial, whether you do B2B or B2C. What is going to change, like what Turab pointed out, is 100% bang on. It is going to be more of the B2C kind of advertising outlay or the process, which is now going to apply maybe to B2C also, because you have access to personal data and to, you know, you can reach an individual rather than you have to just put out a ad appealing to all 16-year-olds in Bombay, you know, as opposed to that. It is much sharper today. So therefore, what Turab said is actually quite correct, that yes, more and more of B2C is going to imitate the kind of stuff you used to do with B2B. But in terms of creative and idea, that does not change. That will continue to be there because we are still dealing with human beings.
Thank you, Rajan, for that. There's a question that has come from Chaitanya. Says this question is directed to Professor Pravin. The fact that many higher education institutions are focusing on liberal education and ethos, what are the additional advantages of learning liberal arts for advertising and communication students? With 1-2 examples. Fantastic. I think that that's one question that we have been talking about in webinars, and the other day Rajan and I was on the same webinar. And liberal education is going to be very important. The reason being, most of the things are going to be done by machines and artificial intelligence. Yeah. So now what is going to happen is, you know, human skills are going to be are needed. Your empathy, machine cannot have empathy, right? Give you data. Advertisers or communication designers are going to be much more kind of in future uncertainties, where you know, if most of these other like mathematical and scientific understanding, the machines are going to do it for you. Yeah, I hope I could touch upon that. Yes, over to you, Turab.
Sorry, I missed it because my net was slightly.
So, Mr.
Can you repeat the question?
I had a question for you.
Yeah, please.
Hi, I'm Pranab. I guess Turab sir ka system hang ho gaya. Oh yeah, here he is.
Okay,
So
yeah.
Turab sir, I had a question. Can I go and ask that
Yeah,
question?
please feel free.
I think he's lagging in. So well, I'll continue. Advertising 4.0 is coming in, and now the at the it will be the data and the content that we produce will be very personalized, helpful, and relevant. That sort of content has to come out in the market, and as Mr. Nair and you correctly said that at the end of the search engine there is a blog will give you ROI probably after a year, or a vlog will give you ROI after a year, is very difficult in these times. So say for instance, if it's real estate, and if I tell them that I have a content plan for say a year and it costs say XYZ, but the ROI can't be calculated today, even though there is data, even though there is inbound, everything is place. So how do we make such clients or such prospect uh, sell such aspects, such a thing? So that is my question. How does an account management play a role in this? Is it design, or how do we take it ahead?
I request Rajan to respond to that. Rajan, can you please?
Yeah, I can sort of understand.
Because you have worked with many account planners very, very closely and many big brands in the past. I think the answer should come from you.
I really don't have a sort of formula answer for this. I don't have a formula answer for this because there is no formula, and it entirely depends. I don't know how you can actually agree with this, but it depends on what is your rapport and your credibility with your. It's as basic as that. See, there are mechanics point of view or from the process point of view, there are two things that are very important, especially when you're dealing. Clients need to know that there is a certain need to explain from your marketing. It has much wider reach. It has much wider perspective. Tactics are short-term, short-lived, and very quick. You need to use tactical stuff to make quick decisions. You will be buy one get one free is tactical. It cannot be your long-term strategy, right? So if you're doing a blog, it's tactical. It's long-term thing. You are pumping in ideas and trying to influence your consumer from 20,000 different ways. You might have an editorial write-up, you might have a column in a newspaper, you might have tweets going around, none of which tells go and buy this product because there's an offer going on. That's not what the point is. But you are pumping in, little tiny drops make an ocean, to quote a stupid old cliche, but it's a fact in our business that you can't go with just one thing. You need to surround it with several things, right? So all your blog articles, your tweets and your FB posts and all, these are all building the momentum for the big purchase or for the thing getting established in your consumer's mind. So yeah, I think you should. The simplest analogy I could think of was really the run-up before you bowl. So this continues to be relevant. So and build your app. Your client should sort of be on the same platform. There, I would say, I think Turab would be the good judge on this, and possibly he is doing it already. Very often, you need to educate your client.
So I completely agree with your point, sir.
You need to bring him down to your level of understanding. Bring him up to your level of understanding of how the advertising process works.
I completely agree to your point, sir. It is based upon the rapport. But my other just follow-up question to this is when Mr. Mishra says that there is email that is working very good and there is personalization in the content that is working phenomenally good in India. However, companies like Amazon, who started inbound years back, a lot of email e-purchases, how many times do we actually read that email and have an impression, or how many times does that email work? So my question is, will this email marketing or the content marketing that we're doing or the content plan that we try to build, will this work in real estate scenario?
I don't know specifically about real estate as such, but I'm saying in general it doesn't work because it's as good as the olden days spam. You used to get junk mail in your mailbox, in your dabba at home, when you're out of town and you come back and you see 150 envelopes, right from, real estate to newspaper guys to everybody, putting junk stuff. It doesn't work. So how personalized can you get? Let me give you an example from my real life, which I was very closely associated with an activity, an event where I was running an educational portal, and it was fairly successful because we had more than 9,000 students all over the world, and it required a student to log in to see his school and lessons activities. Okay, the moment, let's say, Rajesh from Andheri, I'm using Bombay names. Huh? Rajesh from Andheri logs in, and he's a 10th or 11th standard student. You decide which. The moment he logs in, it says, Are Rajesh, you know that in Andheri there is a McDonald's, and after tomorrow is Sneha's birthday. Why don't you ask her to treat you from McDonald's? You see how it is correlated, so many stuff. Now imagine you log in and you get this message and you're Rajesh. Will you be able to ignore this?
Yeah.
See, that's the level of personalization and the level of interest that you need to generate based on pure creativity. There is nothing else in this. But
Nice.
sure, please speak.
You, sir, Rajan, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Because of the media changes in the in abroad compared to India, I saw we are lax in the experimental advertising.
Sorry, I didn't understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you are touching to the personal point of view, if you saw, the experimental advertising is effective more than the traditional and the digital.
I don't know. Experimental sounds itself that you're experimenting. You don't know whether it will work or not.
Yeah, because that is the, I mean, in the US or UK, that is the most effective communication.
Can you quote any examples?
If you saw the cancer, is a cancer disease.
Yeah.
The one brand in US called some, I don't know the name of the hospital, but they made the sticker of the that dark, means if your skin's disease, so they made the sticker on the car handle. And if somebody is showing that this looking very cliche, means that visual wise, and they saw and they removed the sticker, and the back side is message. Okay. So they can effective continuously. When that is
how is this experimental? This is just good
experiential. By that, Mr. Rajan Mankar means experiential.
Yeah, but this is very typical. There's nothing new about this.
No, but in India, if you say
40 years, there's nothing new.
No, in the compared to India, in India is the lots of law and other problems.
No. The laws in India are much weaker compared to the laws in the US.
That is the personalized, and that is very recall advertising, I think.
No, there are just simple two things. These are ideas that copywriters and art directors get all the time, but it doesn't get out of the agency. It stays back in the drawer only. It doesn't go beyond that. You see, one is you need the agency needs the courage to present it to the client. The client needs the courage to say, yes, go ahead with it. I'm willing to put money on it. It's as basic as that. So it's not being done. But you see few of it because clients are not willing to take the risk, and maybe agencies also don't take the risk of wanting to upset the client and say, just make the logo bigger and get on with it.
That can't be changed.
That's so it's more of the kind of credibility and rapport you have with your client.
Especially in India, I like that idea with the traffic department, means the Mumbai police.
Those kind of things are happening quite a lot.
Yeah.
I think there are some other people who are wanting to ask questions. So, can Ghosh go ahead, please?
So, I have one question.
Yeah.
I have one simple question. With the entire market is competing with the traditional media, right? So, what will be the next move with traditional media, AI, and data science? So, what will be the next move as an agency to take care of the brand, product, or service for our client? With a combination of these.
My apologies, I've not understood your question fully. Just repeat.
सर जैसे कि सारा ट्रेडिशनल मीडिया जो आज तक मीडिया अवेलेबल है वो अभी लेट्स वी कैलकुलेट एज अ ट्रेडिशनल मीडिया, राइट? सो traditional media with the innovative AI and data, with the combination of the entire thing, what will be the next move as an agency? कि हमने क्या वो next move लेना चाहिए इन सब के combination के साथ?
Okay. So one thing is, let me kind of clarify a bit. Things are not going to change overnight, in the sense that we are entering into a new phase where it's going to be technology driven. It's going to be narrow casting. That's one way. But I think lot of information that is going to come in, and you have to also target not just in terms of geographic region or in terms of age group and all, but within that particular age group, there's certain behavioral patterns that you have to understand. Also, you have to understand what is trending. Supposing, for example, TikTok has a massive market in India, in the sense that there are huge percentage in, but there's a particular age only, right? A very specific age group that is using TikTok. Now, all the and also TikTok can be used as an advertising platform in various ways. Now, this is so that I took TikTok just as an example, and because it's not non-traditional advertising platform altogether. So there will be new things that will keep emerging. Gaming is a very important is emerging as a very important platform for advertising. Yeah, that is also in a particular age group and a particular segment, like primarily urban, that is happening. But I'm saying keeping all those things, keeping oneself updated about all the technology, all the trends that is happening around is going to be the major key. And there is not going to be a formula that something has worked in the past is going to work for some other brand in future and going to work. That whole concept is going to completely change now.
Exactly.
Yes, there is going to be more risk taking, more experimental. Otherwise, it's not also going to touch upon people, because those things are going to you have to find newer methods and newer mediums and new languages emerging, right, to reach out to people. So those things are going to be very important. Yeah.
Okay. There is one.
Does that?
Can I ask some question on behalf of Swapnil Ghosh? He's asking,
yes, please.
Will the advertising 4.0 have the same impact on rural parts of the country like in urban?
It's very. I just read that because that's very interesting. You know what? The urban-rural divide is almost gone, if not gone fully, in terms of many ways. First thing, the internet penetration, the smartphones, the way it has reached, the data that people are getting at a very low cost or maybe free. That whole. See, earlier the film used to get released in urban centers, and then probably after a few months the reel used to go to the rural areas, and then so those days are gone now, right? People are watching cricket matches live on their phones in rural areas. Yeah, connectivity is the key. So I think that's the divide is very less. The divide is there, yes, in terms of purchasing power, yes. But in terms of aspirations, I believe the rural matches the urban right now. Yeah.
Any more? We'll take one more question before we wrap up, because we are coming to the end of our time. So anyone? Last question.
Saurabh, can I just add to a question that Sandhya probably asked much earlier in the chat? I just wanted to continue on that point. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Doesn't you have to switch on your camera?
Yeah. I just remembered, Sandhya was asking about moving on to new platforms, and and I think that was related to the previous question of brands and agencies and moving into new technology areas, etc. Actually, it's related to what used to happen earlier also. When the earlier days when you used to use print, to make an artwork. You cut bromides into small pieces and assemble your headline. From there to when suddenly Photoshop and the PC came into the business, and a lot of graphic artists, commercial artists from JJ and the others, said कि अरे यार ये कैसा अभी हम लोग, now we are supposed to learn Photoshop. What is this Photoshop? So the agency had no choice but to say कि चलो we'll help you along. We'll put you for classes. I would say 2 out of 10 artists were okay with that. They went and learned and they managed to do it. The others just couldn't get it. So they had to take a severance package and go. And then when now that these things are coming in with, all your digital stuff with Google AdSense and AdWords and tweets and costings and ROIs and everything, which this is a very simple thing. You either learn or you have to make way. There's absolutely no this thing. Same thing with the agency. I mean, I think day before yesterday when what's his name? Venkat. I'm very bad with names. How's Turab?
Yeah.
Venkat made the presentation, right?
Vikram.
Vikram. Yeah, Vikram gave a very clear these things. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. It's as the agencies have no choice. Not just agencies, every business. You want to stick to your old traditional stuff, then nahi chalega. Karwa is the only thing I can remember which is really working. Play old songs, din raat बैठ के वो वामिन साहनी को सुनो. I can't think of any other brand that's really capitalizing on old stuff. You have to move forward. You have to be ready.
They are using a new technology.
Correct. Yeah, that's true.
Thanks, Rajan.
Most welcome.
So last question.
One last question, Ajit.
Yeah, Ajit, go ahead.
Hi, Professor Pravin. This is Ajit from Hyderabad, filmmaker. So, Turab is my client that way, rather who gives me work. So, in this 4.0, what would be the role of films? Because as you're saying, everything is moving from broadcasting or telecasting to narrowcasting, and it would be very individualized and personalized. What would be the role of film per se in this gamut, and what would be the percentage? What was it traditionally in 2.0 or 3.0, and what it is going to be the role of films in 4.0? What would be the percentage?
Yeah, Ajit, I think that's a very, very good question. I'll attempt. This answer is not also based on any information that I have. It's just gut feeling. See, what is happening is this is going to be the death of single narrative. Now, things have been interactive for a while. The gaming industry, the games have become so realistic now. Yeah, it's almost like you actually interact with it. Stories are going to be kind of taking that path. Stories are going to give you options based on your liking. Stories are going to be like kind of, it will have multiple options at some point of time, right? What you want that character. Suppose in I'm okay with a sad ending, more realistic ending, right? And you like a happy ending, right? A film for you will be different. For me, so many and probably some character I would like to know more. So in terms of, I think it's going to be interactive where the camera should be. I want to see that particular character a little more, reaction of that character. I want this person to take lead. All those things are going to play. The technology is going to enable us to understand each and every person's profiling in terms of what are their likes and dislikes. And based on that, I think the film tomorrow is going to be very, very interactive. Yeah. Okay. So this is just a gut feeling that I have. Yeah. So
that's great. I think we are coming to the end of our webinar. Luckily, we were able to, Professor Pravin was able to get his electricity and his internet up. At 10 o'clock in the morning, it was not there. So we were wondering whether to continue with this program or to postpone it. But luckily, I think that, somebody upstairs is looking after Tempest and Open Minds. So they got the electricity and internet back on track for him. And we were able to have a very interesting thing. My few remarks which I want to make is that what we are seeing, what Vikram said and what you are saying today is exactly the same that advertising agencies of the past have to really change and adopt artificial intelligence, machine learning, and those type of technologies which will make communication very, very effective, personalized, narrow-casted, and also the idea that we were used to, that a big idea has to continue for 10 years, has to dramatically change from today itself, not tomorrow also, today itself, that more ideas, more faster execution using technology to make communication that is acceptable to different target segments simultaneously. So that is the conclusion which I am drawing. And the last thing which I liked really about what Professor said was that it's not social distancing, it is physical distancing. If we do social distancing, I think it's end of the world, possibly. Not the way that we know it today, but the way that we will not know tomorrow. So with this, may I request Manupriya to please deliver the vote of thanks. Manupriya is there?
Yes, I'm there. I think there's some network connectivity issues I'm also facing. So just a small thing. I think we made a parallel vote today on the digital platform. Not only, the social vote that we had, the friends, the colleagues. Apart from that, I think we made a parallel vote for ourselves. Well, on that note, Professor Pravin Mishra, on behalf of Tempest Advertising, I would really like to thank you for the time spent today. And also Mr. Rajan Nair, you've been giving a lot of inputs in all of our sessions. We are really thankful to you. Also, thank you to all the participants for spending time today with us. It was really a pleasure. So until next time, all the very best and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Manupriya. Thank you, Turab. Thank you, Rajan. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.